This is the Sony Wf-C500, possibly one of the most stripped down Bluetooth IEMs I have ever encountered. No active noise cancellation, no in-ear detection, and certainly no support for Sony's own proprietary LDAC codec. What it does aim to do instead is be everything a Bluetooth IEM needs to be above all else. Comfortable, convenient, and sound good. First things first, I have to hand it to Sony for committing to that whole eco-friendly packaging thing. They're doing this across all their products now, and this one is no exception. Although it did come with an inordinate amount of paperwork, some of which was quite useful actually. Inside the case, you get the case itself, earbuds, 3 sizes of silicone tips, and a charging cable. And that's it. No hybrid foam tips on this one, I'm afraid. Now, throughout this review, I will be comparing this with the Sony XM4, something that is 2.5 times as expensive. And if that seems a little unfair, well, it is, but also not. Take, for instance, the fit and comfort. Translucent plastic is never a good indicator of great build quality, but I find this to be pretty solidly built. The lid opens and closes with good amount of resistance. That latch seems like it's going to last quite a while, and it snaps close with a very satisfying snap. The earbuds inside are similarly well made, and honestly, they just look like little brothers of the XM4. In fact, they go in the ear much the same way, except that they're smaller, lighter, and therefore they fit far more flush in my ear at least. This, combined with the IPX4 water resistance rating, means that for me, they tend to fit a lot better than the XM4, and they tend to be suitable for both everyday use and workouts and running, something that I was not completely comfortable with their big brothers. Now, as for apps and features and usability, it does get picked up by the Sony Headphones app, but really there's not much there to do. You can check earbud battery levels, but not case battery level. You can check what codec is being used at the time, SBC or AAC, that's all it is. And you can use it to EQ the buds to your heart's content or toggle DSEEs, and that's pretty much it. As for controlling the earbuds themselves, they come with buttons on either earbud, and the function of these buttons are fixed. You can't change them. What you get out of the box is what you have. It does support Google Assistant if you're wondering about that. The one feature I have to say it does come with is the fact that you can use one earbud at a time. Some might find this feature list to be rather anemic. I wish it had a couple of features more myself. But one effect of such a stripped down feature list is the fact that they have excellent battery life. According to Sony, you get 10 hours of battery life out of the earbuds and another 10 hours in the case. 10 minutes of quick charging will give you an hour of listening time. Now, I haven't had a chance to put them through their paces. I've only used them for about 2.5 hours, and so far the battery charge stayed at about 100%. So, I mean, there's nothing there to take battery up except for just producing sound. So I have no reason to disbelieve their claims here. Now, for the sound quality, believe it or not, I'm going to continue comparing them with the Sony XM4. See, the XM4 was known for a few things. Really wide soundstage, pretty good imaging, nice sub-bass extension, beautiful mids and highs. But it did have a few flaws as well. Like, for example, the attack and thump of the bass was just not suitable for, say, electronic music. And the mids, vocals, both male and female, often sounded a little bit thin. These, on the other hand, seem to have fixed some of those issues. Out of the box, to my ears at least, they definitely sounded like the mids and the highs were pulled back a little bit recessed, veiled even, not muddy in any way. They came across quite clearly, just a little lower in the mix than I would prefer. A little bit of EQ bumping up those mids and highs seemed to sort this issue right out, and then the sound really opened up. Now, it can't compete with things like soundstage and imaging with the Sony XM4. In fact, soundstage is a little bit narrow, with it sort of ending just between your ears, just a little bit inwards, and imaging is average at best. It can't even compete with detail because it doesn't have access to the information that comes through on LDAC. So don't expect great amount of details in the lows and highs. But here's what it does do. The lows that do come through are represented beautifully. They're tight, they're punchy, and honestly, it's far more usable for electronic music as well as other genres of music. Similarly for the mids, where the XM4 would sound a little bit thin for male and female vocals, these guys sound rich and full-bodied. As for things like transients, attack, and decay, honestly, yes, it could be better, but the best way to describe it is it's pretty good, and it sounds very natural. It's almost as if the engineers at Sony kind of knew the shortcomings of the XM4 and tried to fix them for this device. And if you told me that that was the case, but at the expense of all those features and soundstage and imaging and detail, then I would have said, okay, I don't know if that would work or not. But honestly, it seems to work brilliantly. Make no mistake, even after EQ, this is definitely a darker sounding IEM, but to me, it sounds fairly natural. and really balanced. Now, as for mic quality, here's a sample. So this is a mic quality test. I'm actually speaking through the Sony Wf-C500. As you can see, if you're familiar with the channel, you know I'm not in my usual place. I'm actually traveling, I'm abroad. I just happened to come across these on Best Buy and I just had to review them because they sounded so good to me from a music point of view. I don't actually know what they sound like using a microphone, so maybe you can tell me down in the comments below. Which reminds me, here's some cafe sounds. So this is cafe sounds driven as loudly as I can without upsetting all the neighbors. What does the mic sound like? Is it better than the XM4? Is it worse? What do you think? Oh, and while you're here, if you haven't been to the channel before, maybe consider subscribing. Huh? Now, before you go out rushing to buy one of these with the affiliate link down below, here's a quick recap. Do not expect much from them in terms of features. They are superbly stripped down. They do not come with active noise cancellation. There is no in-ear detection. The only feature that is there is the ability to use one earbud at a time. However, I will say they are supremely comfortable for extended listening sessions. They fit well in the ear. They're far more useful for working out, and I do like those mechanical buttons. The battery life is a full 10 hours with another 10 hours out of the case, and the sound, well, arguably the best I've heard in this price bracket, which brings us to the price. Now, these are available on Amazon and other places at around $99 to $100. However, two things. One, they come in 4 colors, not the usual black and white alone, but also this kind of mint blue and an orange, which is super fun. Now, the blue and orange are often discounted down to $70. And that's when it starts really making value, because under $100, there are a lot of options out there with a lot of features that you might want or need. But under $70, it gets really hard to find IEMs that have those features as well as great sound. Now, this is a Bluetooth IEM that eschews all the features, the frills, the fancies that other competitors use to lure you in. Do I wish some of those features existed on this? Yes, I do, absolutely. But this is a great example of a device that completely embraces the stripped down ethos and concentrates on being what a Bluetooth IEM is supposed to be above all else. Convenient, comfortable, and to sound very good. I'll see you in the next one. Stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful. Namaste.